नमः सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य व्याकरणशास्त्रप्रवेशकक्षायाः 53तमं दिनम्। अत्र अग्रे एतत् सूत्रम् अस्माभिः पूर्वत्र एकत्र दृष्टं विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इति। अत्र विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इति पदत्रयं वर्तते। एतत् स्मरन्ति वा? कुत्र इति स्मरन्ति वा? Can anybody confirm chat? अस्माभिः दृष्टम् एतत् सूत्रम् विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इति। तत् कुत्र दृष्टम् इति स्मरन्ति वा? आम्, पञ्चमी सप्तमी एकत्र अस्ति चेत् विप्रतिषेध आम् सम्यक्। तत्र विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इत्यस्य अर्थः कः इति चेत् यत्र उभयस्य सूत्रस्य अथवा बहूनां सूत्राणां कार्यम् एकत्र भवितुम् अर्हति तदानीं कस्य सूत्रस्य कार्यं करणीयम् इति शङ्का भवति। तदानीं विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इत्यनेन परसूत्रस्य कार्यं तत्र करणीयम् इति अत्र ज्ञायते। अत्र विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इत्यत् परिभाषासूत्रं वर्तते। अत्र विप्रतिषेधे इत्युक्ते तुल्यबलविरोधे यत्र सूत्रद्वयम् अस्ति इति चिन्तयन्तु। अत्र सूत्रद्वयस्यापि बलं समानम् अस्ति। अत्र बलं समानम् अस्ति चेत् तत्र सूत्रद्वयमपि एकत्र कार्यं कर्तुं शक्नुयात् इति अर्थः। तदानीं यत्र तथा भवति तदानीं परं नाम परसूत्रस्य कार्यं करणीयम् इति सूत्रस्य अर्थः। इट्स् वेरी सिम्पल सूत्रम् इफ् यू वित् सिम्पल लैंग्वेज। सो विप्रतिषेधः नाम the two sutras or many sutras having the equal weightage or equal priority on a particular place. So in those cases, out of those two, we take the later sutram to perform that action. Okay, and udaharanam asmabhiः दृष्टम् एतत् डः सि धुट् इत्यत्र समस्या का इति चेत् अत्र डः सि धुट् इत्युक्ते डः इत्यत्र पञ्चमी, सि इत्यत्र सप्तमी, पुनः ढुत् इति आगमः। अत्र धुडागमः आगमः कुत्र भवति? आद्यन्तौ टकितौ इत्यनेन टिदागमः सर्वदा आदौ भवति, स्थानिनः आदौ भवति। स आदौ अथवा अन्ते भवति इति पृच्छामः चेत् वदामः चेत् तत्र स्थानिनः आदौ स्थानिनः अन्ते इत्येव भवति। अतः स्थानि भवति चेत् तस्मात् पूर्वं तस्मात् परम् इति अर्थः। इदानीं स्थानिं वयं कथं ज्ञास्यामः? तत्र प्राय एतावत् पर्यन्तं यत्र षष्ठी भवति, षष्ट्या स्थानिनिर्देशः भवति। यदि सप्तमी भवति चेत् तस्मिन् इति निर्दिष्टे पूर्वस्य इत्यनेन सप्तम्या यद् निर्दिष्टं भवति तस्मात् पूर्वं यदस्ति तत् स्थानि भवति। अथवा पञ्चमी निर्देशः अस्ति चेत् तस्मात् इति उत्तरस्य इत्यनेन सूत्रेण यत् पञ्चम्या निर्दिष्टं भवति तस्मात् परं यदस्ति तत् स्थानि भवति। अत्र अस्मिन् सूत्रे कः क्लेशः इति चेत् डः इत्यत्र पञ्चमी, सि इत्यत्र सप्तमी, परन्तु षष्ठी नास्ति। तत्र स्थानि साक्षात् प्रोक्तं नास्ति। पञ्चमी अस्ति, सप्तमी अस्ति। पञ्चमी किं वदति? पञ्चमी यत्र अस्ति तस्मात् परं स्थानि अस्ति इति अर्थः। सप्तमी अस्ति चेत् तस्मात् पूर्वं स्थानि अस्ति इति अर्थः। परन्तु अत्र पश्यामः चेत् डः सि धुट् इत्यत्र उदाहरणं पश्यामः चेत् षट् सन्तः इति उदाहरणम्। अत्र डकारः डकारात् परम् इति उच्यते, सकारात् पूर्वम् इति उच्यते। अत्र डः इत्यनेन डकारात् परं, सि इत्यनेन सकारात् पूर्वम्। अत्र डकारात् परं तथा सकारात् पूर्वं किमपि नास्ति। अत्र किमपि अस्ति चेत् तत्र तत् स्थानि भवति, ततः परं दुरादेशः भवति, क्षम्यतां दुरागमः भवति। परन्तु अत्र डकारात् परं साक्षात् सकारः अस्ति, सकारात् पूर्वं साक्षात् डकारः अस्ति। अतः मध्ये स्थानि कोऽपि नास्ति। इदानीं तत्र किं स्वीकरणीयम्? अत्र डकारात् परम् इति स्वीकृत्य सकारः स्थानि भवति वा, अथवा सकारात् पूर्वम् इति डकारः स्थानि भवति वा इति पृच्छामः चेत् अत्र पश्यामः चेत् सूत्रद्वयम् अस्माभिः पठितं तस्मिन् इति निर्दिष्टे पूर्वस्य तस्मात् इति उत्तरस्य अत्र उभयस्य अपि तत्र प्राप्तिः अस्ति. So we can apply both the sutram. We can apply tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya and take sakara, the letter before sakara, that is dakara as a sthani. Or we can also apply tasmad iti uttarasya and based on that daha, the panchami, we can take panchami, and after dakara the sakara as a sthani. We can take both as sthanis. So that means both of these sutrams have equal weightage at this place. So तदानीं किं करणीयं? So तदानीं विप्रतिषेधे परं कार्यम् इत्यस्य परिभाषासूत्रस्य कार्यं भवति. तेन किम् उच्यते? यत्र तुल्यबलविरोधः भवति तत्र परसूत्रस्य कार्यं भवति. So this is where the Ashtadhyayi Krama becomes important. The Ashtadhyayi Krama, the Tasmin iti nirdishte, that becomes first, and after that Tasmad iti uttarasya. So both of these sutrams compete at the same place. In those cases, we take the parasutram, that is the tasmad iti uttarasya. So we take parasutram. So that means the daha, the panchami becomes stronger. So till vipratishethe param karyam, the panchami and saptami both are equally stronger. But after vipratishethe param karyam, panchami becomes stronger because the panchami sutram, the tasmat iti uttarasya, that sutram is later sutram compared to the tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya. So the panchami gets stronger, and based on panchami we do the sthani nirnaya. So अत्र डकारात् परम् इति वदामः चेत् डकारात् परं सकारः अस्ति, अतः सकारः अत्र स्थानी भवति. पुनः धुट् इति आगमः स्थानिनः आदौ भवति, आद्यन्तौ टकितौ इत्यनेन, अतः डुदागमः सकारात् पूर्वं भवति. So प्रायः till previous level षड् सन्तः इत्यत्र डुदागमः षड् सन्तः इत्यनयोः मध्ये भवति इति वदेम. So we might have told the dudagama will come between these two, but if you see as per the shastra, dudagama comes before sakara, not after shat. It comes before santaha. Okay, so this nirnaya happens because of vipratishethe param karyam. So hope this is clear. So wherever you have two sutrams competing each other and have equal weightage, then you have to take the later sutram according to the Ashtadhyayi order. So this is where whatever the vyakhyas we follow, Siddhanta Kaumadi, Kashika, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumadi, doesn't matter, because in each vyakya, in each class, we shuffle the sutrams, we study the sutrams in whatever easier way possible. But when it comes to vipratishethe param karyam, this is where the Ashtadhyayi sutra krama is very important. And another thing here we need to remember is if you take any apavada sutrams. Okay, let's take this question as a Q&A. Can you give any two apavada sutrams? Okay, Gunasandhi, Vriddhi Sandhi. Okay. Okay, Gunasandhi sutram is Ad Gunaha, Vriddhi Sandhi sutram is Vriddhi Rechi. Akasavarne Dirghaha is apavada sutram for Gunasandhi. Okay, let's take only two sutrams, Ad Gunaha and Vriddhi Rechi. And Akasavarne Dirghaha is little complicated prakriya there. Yeah, okay. I think you're getting all of them right. Okay, so let's take only two sutrams. Gunasandhi sutram, the Ad Gunaha is the Utsarga sutram, and Vriddhi Rechi is the Apavada sutram. Okay, let's take these. Okay, I didn't prepare any slide for this. Okay, if you take Ad Gunaha, what it says is any Achvarna comes after Akara, Rasvakara or Dirghakara, their Guna happens. So it's a complete coverage for all the Achvarnas. Now Vriddhi Rechi says only for Achvarnas Vriddhi happens. Okay, so for all Achvarnas, okay, ignore the all Savarna Dirgha, you can ignore A plus A, E plus E. Ignoring Savarna Dirgha, generally we'll take Adgunaha says for akara or akara plus any achvarna, any swara, will get guna sandhi. And Vriddhi Rechi says akara or akara plus any H varna, A, I, O, Au. If we get, then we get the Vriddhi there. Okay, this is a pure, is a very good example for Apavada Sutrams, Apavadas, because general Lakshanam of any Apavada is the main sutra covers the wider range, and Apavada Sutram covers a subset of the primary sutram. So that's a typical Lakshanam for any Apavada. So here the main sutram is Adgunaha, that covers. So I'm talking when I say that covers or wide range, it's all in this example, it is the Paranimittam. So Puranimittam is Rasvakara or Dirgha Akaraha. Paranimittam is Ach for Adgunaha and H for Vriddhirechi. Okay. So in the first sutram, Adgunaha, the Paranimittam is all Achvarnas. The range is from Akara to Aukara. And in the second sutra, Vriddhirechi, the Paranimittam is H, Ekara to Aukara. That means the first sutra's Paranimittam covers the wider range, all Achvarnas, and second sutra's Paranimittam covers only a subset of the primary sutram. That is only 4 letters of the first sutra. The first sutram covers all Achvarnas and second sutram covers only 4 Achvarnas. Okay. So this is the Lakshanam for any Apavada. Apavada, when you say this sutram is Apavada sutram for other one, that means this sutrams should operate within the same region as that of the main sutram or Utsarga sutram. It should never go beyond it. Okay, that's the Apavada sutram's Lakshanam. Hope this is clear. Okay, if you get any such a thing, even if you take Vriddhirechi, any example, if you take Eka plus Eka, Ekaikam iti bhavati kalu, Eka plus Eka, Akara plus Ekara, if you take that alone. So there, again we have 2 sutrams applicable there, Adgunaha and Vriddhirechi. So there you cannot apply Viprati Shedhe Param Karyam. The reason is there it is the Apavada. So Viprati Shedhe Param Karyam can work if there are 2 completely different sutrams, but both get equal weightage on a certain place, then we can use Viprati Shedhe Param Karyam. But if you take any 2 sutrams which are already Apavada to each other, or so one is Apavada to other one, so there we cannot apply the Viprati Shedhe Param Karyam. So if you take Eka plus Eka, so there you cannot say that because of Viprati Shedha, the Parasutram, the Vriddhirechi comes in place. That's not the way we should address that. Okay, there it's Apavada because the Utsarga Sutram covers all Achvarnas and the Apavada Sutram covers only 4 letters of Achvarnas. So it's a pure Apavada. It has Apavada Lakshanam. So in that case, we take only Apavada Sutram and we operate using Apavada Sutrams. In that case, Eka plus Eka, the Vriddhirechi comes in and Ekaika comes, it becomes. Okay, but if you take Tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya, Tasmat iti uttarasya, it is not Apavada to each other because there is no range or there is no subset or superset here. It just says 2 independent sutrams. Though they appear next to each other, these 2 are 2 independent sutrams. Okay, and in that case, there is no Apavada there. So in that case, Apavada in the sense, we will not say that, okay, if Apavada means how it can be like Tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya, Tasmad iti uttarasya. If you get both, if you get Tasmin, you take that as a Paranimittam. If you get Panchami, you take that as a Puranimittam. We don't ignore Saptami if there is a Panchami. We don't do that way. We take both the sutrams applicable on certain places. For example, I don't recollect the place right away. So these two sutrams can operate independently. That's what I'm trying to say. So in a sutram, if there is a panchami and if there is a saptami, we apply both of them. We apply tasminiti nirdishte and tasmaditi uttarasya. Both we apply, and we take one as a paranimitam, one as a puranimitam. Okay, if it is apavada to each other, what will happen? Any one of them will get in. Either in that case, if there is saptami and as well as panchami, if it is utsarga or apavada sutram, then we'll take only panchami, because panchami, assume that panchami is apavada for saptami, then we'll take only the puranimitam. We ignore the paranimitam. So that we don't do that way. I think I couldn't recollect. We studied this in Halsandhi. There are few sutrams where both panchami and saptami comes in place. So in those cases, we never take only one nimitta. We take both the nimittams. That means both the sutrams applicable on certain places. So then that is not a utsarga or apavada category. So utsarga apavada happens only when any one of the sutrams operate there. So in case of eka, only vriddhi rechi can enter there, and guna sandhi cannot happen. Only vriddhi sandhi can happen, and it's a pure apavada because it first utsarga sutram covers wider range, and second sutram covers a subset of it. But that's not the case with tasminiti nirdishte or tasmaditi uttarasya. Okay, so it is not apavada. It is not apavada, and it both have the equal weightage in dahasi dhut. So we take the help of viprathiyade paramkarya. But if they are apavada to one another, if there is apavada one to other, then we will go with the regular apavada. We ignore the utsarga sutram. We take the apavada sutram and we operate. But there is no utsarga apavada bhava here, so we go for viprathishede paramkarya. So now the question is, kimartham etat sutram atra pathyate? इदानीं किमर्थम् एतत् सूत्रं पठ्यते इति पृच्छामः चेत् अत्र एतां प्रक्रियां पश्यामः. अत्र मनस् रतः इत्यत्र अत्र मनरु रतः इति भवति ससोषोरुः इत्यनेन. पुनः किं भवितुम् अर्हति? अत्र ससोषोरुः इत्यनेन सकारस्य ऋत्वं भवति. ऋत्वात् परं तत्र उत्त्वं वा यत्त्वं वा भवति. तद्वयमपि न भवति चेत् रेफः अवशिष्यते इति अस्माभिः दृष्टम्. इदानीं प्रश्नः, किमर्थं मया एतद्वयमपि परिशीलनीयम्? मया किमर्थं साक्षात् रेफादेशं रेफः तत्र लोपं कृत्वा ईसंज्ञायाः लोपं कृत्वा साक्षात् रेफः किमर्थं स्थापयितुं न शक्यते इति पृच्छामः चेत् तस्य उत्तरमेव इदानीं वयं पश्यामः. So if you ask why we need to evaluate these two paths before getting into the third path, because that path doesn't have any condition. If you do not have a condition, we can always go and perform that third path and go to Repha path and we can perform other operations. Why we need to evaluate Uttvam or Yattva conditions? That is exactly is discussed with at this place here. So here it says, if you take example of Manas Rataha, Manaru Rataha, Sasoishoruhu ityanena, if you take Repha path, so what will happen in this case ideally? Manaru Rataha, Tataha Param Tatra Hashvarnaha asti, Ashicha ityanena, Manavu Rataha Bhavati. But here the case is, what happens if you go in the right hand side path? If you don't evaluate these two paths and if you go in the right hand side, what happens? So tadani kim bhavati? Manar rataha and mana rataha and mana rataha. Hope this prakriya is clear. So manar rataha atra repha dvayam asti. Punaha tatra rori ekasya rephasya lopaha. Punaha tatra purva anvarnasya dirghadeshaha manaratha. So this can also happen, but we all know that it doesn't happen because there is a possibility of Uttvam here, because Hashicha can get in and it can make Ru into Ukara and go ahead. But the question here is, there is no condition here in this path, and even Rori is applicable if you do. There is no condition here, so the tasya lopa can happen and ru becomes repha, and from here at this point manar rataha, here rori can apply and it can end into manarataha. The same case can happen for all the other cases like ramaha ramate. So even there also the same case, ramar ramaru ramate, ramar ramate, rama ramate, rama ramate. Okay, ramaha ramyaha, wherever you get akara plus visarga plus rephadi shabda, you'll have the same prakriya here. So in this case what happens? Okay, the reason is very simple. Okay, why this is brought in? Because if you take Rori Sutram, that is in the Ashtamadhyaya, and Hashicha Sutram, that is in Shashtadhyaya. So it is Hashicha and Atorora Platat Plute, these both of these sutrams are in 6th chapter, and Rori is in the 8th chapter. Okay, so now the question they raise here is, at this point, after you make Rutvam, at this point, both the sutrams have equal opportunity. Either it can go into Hashicha, or it can also take Repa path and go into Rori. So both have equal thing, and they are not apavada to each other. So there is no clear apavada. Hashicha operates on a different regime, and Rori operates on a different set. So there is no apavada, and Rori happens after Ashicha because that is in 6th chapter, this is in 8th chapter. Now according to Vipratishethe Param Karyam, the Rori should get kick in and it should become Manaratha and Rama Ramyaha, like that. Okay, now the answer for this is very simple. This step will not happen and it will go into the Uttva path like Manaru, Manahu and Manoratha. The Manoratha is the right form. And here the answer here is, this is in the 8th chapter, that is a Tripadi chapter. And this is a very basic rule, like a Purvatra Siddham we have seen. As per Purvatra Siddham, if you get conflict between Sapada Saptadhyayi Sutram versus Tripadi Sutram, you first complete all the Sapada Saptadhyayi Sutrams, then you come for Tripadi Sutrams. So there we cannot apply Vipratishetha where the Purvatra Siddham comes in. So that means Vipratishetha can work, for example, if there are two sutrams from Sapada Saptadhyayi conflicting each other without any apavada, then Vipratishetha can come there and resolve the conflict. But here we don't need a Vipratishetha Sutram self, because the Purvatra Siddham itself is able to resolve the conflict here. So we don't need Vipratishethe Param Karyam. So in the simple takeaway is, Vipratishethe Param Karyam generally works wherever there is no other way to solve any conflict, then we go for Vipratishethe Param Karyam. But there is a other way. For example, in case of Utsarga or Apavada, it's a pure Utsarga and Apavada Bhava. So we go for Apavada Sutram and we operate. And in case of Purvatra Siddham, this is in the 8th chapter and this is in the 6th chapter. The 8th chapter Sutrams cannot operate before 6th chapter. So the Purvatra Siddham already resolves that conflict. It says that you go complete the 6th chapter first and come back to 8th chapter. It is already resolved by Purvatra Siddham. So we don't need Vipratishethe Param Karyam. Okay, so that's the answer here. So that is the reason we study Vipratishethe Param Karyam. And based on Vipratishethe Param Karyam, it would have become Manarataha. But we again, answered that this is already resolved by Purvatra Siddham. Then why we need to go for Vipratishethe? So Vipratishethe doesn't work here because Purvatra Siddham is already resolving the conflict. So we go with Manoratha. So that's the short conversation happens here. And this is the answer even if somebody asks why we need to evaluate these two paths before we go into the third path. And generally third path, especially this happens with the Rory, not with any other sutrams. Even if you take other sutram, they are already in the right krama. Only for Rory and Ashicha we get such a conflict, and that is resolved by Purvatra Siddham. Things like these are actually called as Shastrik Vishyas. But as a beginner, if you know this chart, you will not get the conflict. But if you are curious to know why we shouldn't go in this path, then this explanation comes into picture. But that explanation is already there in our Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So that's why I'm touching that actually. धन्यवादः पुनः मिलिष्यामः